All right. Welcome to the class of 2020, or should I say the class of 2019 and 3/4 graduation ceremony. A lot of work went into being here with you today, and I want to thank everyone, seniors, parents, staff, administrators, trustees, everyone who made this day possible. I also ask that you adhere to the guidelines that I sent home 2 days ago, with the major exception that I just explained. However, if it is not your turn to be up here receiving a speech, I do ask that you remain in your cars. We are having this ceremony professionally photographed, as well as videotaped and live streamed. And we will make those pictures available to you as soon as possible. Now I would like to address the graduates. Honestly, it makes my heart happy to be with you in person here today. Even in your cars, just having you back on campus and sending you off in the world without this last gathering, I was having a tremendous difficulty with. So I'm really happy that we're here today. You, the class of 2020, will forever be remembered by your classmates, your teachers, your families, your friends, and the world. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you will have an immediate connection to other class of 2020 high school graduates that you meet next year or 40 years from now. What you've experienced and are still experiencing is something that no one here has ever experienced before. It is not how I envisioned you spending your senior year at Crefeld, but that's where you inspired me. You inspired me with your hard work and continued dedication to fulfilling your exhibitions these last few months. You inspired me as you supported one another to finish strong. You inspired me with your continued dedication to making a difference, especially now as we work towards systemic change in this country. You inspired me with the power of your voices that you have raised on platforms that resonate here at home and around the world, particularly the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement on climate change. As I look out at you, I am so thrilled to be actually looking at you live and not virtually. I see a group of young adults who have tremendous strengths and positive attributes. Over the last few days, I've had many conversations with administrators about each of you so that I could address you personally with some observations we've all made over the last few years. Zivia, your expansive imagination and talent to bring it to life. Alex, I know your dedication to causes that you strongly believe in will be a part of who you are always. Aaron, your commitment to discovering your own path. Natia, never quiet in the face of injustice. Lucas, I've seen so much bravery in your actions. Ari, honest and openness in sharing your perspective. Sammy, gentle, kind soul with a strong sense of individuality. Daniel, depth of thought and artistic creativity. Jake, I can't wait for the day that I listen to your first broadcast. Josh, thoughtful, caring, and polite community member. Kayla, imaginative character building and depth of thought. Lily, you're as multidimensional as your collages. Clarissa, passionate, caring, loyal leader and friend. Danelle, deep thinker and keen observer of those around you. David, creativity, sense of imagination, never emptying cupboard. Erica, your optimism in the face of adversity. Xander, self-advocate, strong moral compass, drumming. Rosa, your creative depth and sense of self, and I have to mention the group Bad Brains. Livia, creating beautiful music with your voice and pen. Class of 2020, you are so much stronger and more knowledgeable today than you think you are. When you leave here today, I want you to take with you all the laughs, the lessons, the tears that you have experienced and the friendships that you have made, all of which help make you stronger and better versions of yourselves. You are always welcome here. Congratulations, as you now are part of Crefeld's history and no one can take that away from you. I wish you all the best of everything. I am proud of you. Good luck class of 2020. Now, I would ask Zivia Brown, the senior speaker, to come to the podium. Or sit, it's up to you.
Am I on? Oh, I am. Hi. Hey, good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome the family and friends we all managed to stuff into our cars, as well as the faculty and staff of Crefeld. It's wonderful to see all of your beautiful windshields with us today to celebrate the class of 2020. This year has certainly been a doozy, and there is a lot to cover, but let's talk about me for a little bit. Crefeld was certainly not on my list of high schools that I wanted to attend, but little did I know it was the high school I needed. I came to this school in the middle of my sophomore year after being in the lowest point of my life. I had just spent 3 months curled into a little ball on the floor, trying to beat the record for largest homemade ocean, or as some people might call it, bawling my eyes out. Then I heard from a middle school friend about this little old school called Crefeld. The first 2 times I visited Crefeld, I ended up crying. I saw switching schools as a failure on my part, but not going to Crefeld was not an option. So I grabbed my tissue box and opened that big wooden door and found a space to rebuild myself. All of us have our own stories for why we came to Crefeld, and I'd bet most of them are not the typical high school story, if there even is such a thing. Crefeld is a school that puts its students first. Yeah. Every school says that, but Crefeld lives and breathes that claim. When I found myself with less homework, I suddenly had time to take care of myself. When I found myself in a smaller class, I felt less afraid to speak up. And when I found myself with accessible teachers who understood what I needed, I became less fearful and ashamed about asking for extensions. Though I will admit, I was afraid of Eric for quite a while. Now I think he's pretty cool. The magic of Crefeld is that it is here to meet each student where they are and tailors the experience to help each student succeed. Then we got tossed into virtual school during a pandemic. Honestly, Crefeld did not disappoint. Crefeld was determined to maintain the feeling of community, and that they did. This school prides itself on fostering engaged citizens and working for social justice. When our country watched the death of George Floyd, our community gathered to process and support one another. Throughout my time at Crefeld, I have seen the school take important steps to open doors to discussion about racism, including all school events and supporting the student-led creation of the BSU, which I hope will continue to work with the school to address and tackle racism. Now, as I look out at the class of 2020, I encourage you all to remember that it is essential to continue this work once we leave Crefeld. In places less open to dialogue and change, which feels like many parts of the world, we must make them listen. Keeping in mind what brought each of us to Crefeld, I know that task may sound daunting. Some of us have anxiety, some of us don't know how to help in our day-to-day lives, and some of us feel helpless. In commencement speeches online, I have heard over and over again that our generation will be the one to change the world. That is a mighty task, but I do believe we can make an impact, even though it sounds overwhelming. With some of us headed to college or the workplace while others need more time to figure and find out their way, everyone can make a difference as they follow their own path. We can each find our unique approach for addressing the issues in our country and in the world. We are all valid as long as we are not silent. If there is anything I've learned from Melania Trump, it's that when in doubt, quote Michelle Obama. So here I go. In her 2020 online commencement speech, Michelle Obama said, quote, some want to march march right up front. Others prefer to stay back. Some kneel in the pews, others on the street corner. Some canvass in their neighborhoods, others run for office. Some do an honest day's work and raise good kids. Others choose to focus on their education and use that degree to address these issues and build a better life for themselves and those around them, end quote. Each and every one of us can contribute to combating racism and to every goal and desire we each have. The most local and smallest things you can do can make an impact because Crefeld has taught us to be lifelong learners who know how to advocate for personal and collective change. Another thing I've heard in commencement speeches is that we can be anything we want to be and do anything we want to do. Well, sadly, that isn't true. There are barriers in our world that prevent all different groups of people from achieving their wildest dreams, and change takes time. So I want to leave you with this, inspired by one of Crefeld's core concepts. You can't be anything you want to be, but you can be yourself. Give the world a taste of your own flair, approach issues with your unique skills, and do not lose hope, for hopelessness is the saboteur of change. Thank you.
Awesome. Lisa, you do. Alexander Adrian Veely.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take it off. Yeah. Dear Xander, when you look at him, you can usually see a huge smile on Xander's face. Maybe it's because he's finally done with his senior work. Maybe he is replaying a hilarious movie in his head. Or maybe it's a song. Music is a big part of Xander's life, and the Beatles are one of his favorite bands. Xander, when your family made the decision for you to come to Crefeld, it was just days before starting your freshman year. There was some trepidation about whether it was the right choice, but you were game for a big adventure. We might not be a yellow submarine, but you did have a great adventure. When Xander started at Crefeld, he didn't know a single person. He was eager to make friends who shared the same interests, like video games. Xander made some great friendships at Crefeld, and he stayed connected with them even after they graduated. With a little help from his friends, Xander became the young man he is today. Xander has always been a helper. He helped clean up the helter-skelter of the Schuylkill Environmental Center. He also worked at his family's ice cream shop, Nightlight, which raises money to help people with autism live independently. Don't worry, you won't be scooping Strawberry Fields ice cream forever. I know you've never been a paperback writer, but Xander has many talents. He can do a mean impression. He knows all of the movie lines from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Don't challenge him to a game of Name That Tune Classic Rock Edition. He will beat you every time. Roll over, Beethoven. Xander is also a stellar drummer. He's been taking drumming classes at School of Rock for many years. Throughout his time at Crefeld, Xander drummed his way through many art celebrations. Things haven't always been easy. There were plenty of times when you wished you had 8 days a week to get all of your work done. But with the love and support from your parents, the encouragement from the teaching staff, and a little help from Debbie, Xander excelled in school. The payoff was when you were accepted to all of the colleges you applied to. As you embark on your next journey to St. Joe's, don't carry the world upon your shoulders. Just remember, Xander, after walking the long and winding road of high school, you are not a nowhere man. Your place is always here with us. Obla di, obla da, life goes on at St. Joe's University in the fall. And just know, we will still need you, we will still feed you when you're 64. Congratulations. You're welcome. Oh.
Zivia B. Brown.
What's that? Can I take? It's for you. Zivia, tomorrow you're going to open your eyes and realize, Toto, we're not at Crefeld anymore. To that end, I'd like to present to you a mixed-up movie classic this morning. I'm calling it The Wonderful Zivia of All. Scene: a young girl who doesn't always know where she fits, wearing a crisp set of blue overalls, spun around by the world, a tornado in fact, finds herself in a strange land. She has her little dog, okay, cats, and lots of them, but that doesn't fit in this story, and you, Zivia, who creates the most glorious, creative stories, can admit that we sometimes have to adapt for our readers. So, she has her little dog Toto, her cats, and she has to find her way down the Crefeld brick road. There are munchkins and flying felt figures, singing trees of glee and green wicked witches trying to get in her way. Is now the time to speak about Zivia's love of Broadway shows? I know she wasn't really wicked, Ziv, but sometimes things seem scarier than they really are. But back to my story. In this story, our young protagonist is looking for lots of things. Her brain, is it there? Can she rely on it? Oh yes, friends, it's there and it's beautiful. The report cards I've been writing over the years read more like love letters from her teachers and from me, but she's more than just her academic prowess. For Zivia's personal learning reflection, she actually took readers on a tour of her brain, which is apparently set up like a library. It's incredible and creative and sad and sweet. It's all the things Zivia is. The creativity that comes from that brain, it'll have you believing in fairy tales, dreams, and stars that fulfill wishes. She has written amazing creative stories. She's created what she calls Ziums, which are little dolls that she's refined again and again. She's taught others how to felt, and the felt creatures she made, including one that is a stand-in for Sean's cat, are incredible. Our character realizes that her brain produces in ways others can't even begin to imagine. It's a fun storyline in our mixed-up movie. Next, the girl, our Zivia, goes looking for her heart. Is it there? I'm reminded of the quote from the Tin Man, "A heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others." There were days when Zivia felt unsure, but she persevered and let others love her, and her giant heart showed her that it can get bruised but keep beating. Zivia is silly and lights up a room with her heart light. She shares her baking and stories and thoughtful encouragement towards others. Her heart shines through with social justice. She cares about the world and the goats. Yes, the goats, at the Philly Goat Project, where she spent countless hours working with them and only got bit once. And she cares about the underserved in the world. Zivia, your heart is amazing. In our story, your heart plays a big role. It's a headliner. Next, our girl wonders if she's courageous enough, and she goes looking for proof. Sometimes, Zivia, you get nervous that you're not good enough, not going to do well on something, that you can't meet a deadline, but then you figure your way around it. You've learned to speak up for yourself, to tell others how you feel, to own your thoughts and feelings, and know that they can come and be and then go away. To quote from another childhood favorite, you are braver than you believe. Our story goes on, and it just gets better and better, but it's still a work in progress. There will be twists and turns, funny parts and scary parts and happy parts, and yes, sometimes sad parts. Zivia, the yellow brick road is like that. In all, you are still the hero in the story. Remember that you are good enough and kind enough, and we love you this way. As you follow your road to Pratt Institute in New York City, remember that we will always be here cheering you on. And if you need us, just click your heels 3 times and repeat, "There's no place like Crefeld. There's no place like Crefeld." Congratulations, Zivia. We love you.
I wasn't anticipating the horn honking. I like it. You can watch it.
Thank you.
Alexander Carroll Davis.
You look great.
Am I allowed to take it off? Or?
Yeah.
Ready? Alex is easy to acclaim. His attributes are obvious. He's brilliant, he's an activist, he's a musician, and he's a leader. But none of that makes him what he is. It is principle, conviction, kindness, and courage. Alex is a leader because he is worth following. But before that, even before the Glee Club, before the campaign to keep the 30th Street station flip sign, before performances, walkouts, anti-car protest songs, college visits exclusively by public transit, the published essay on voting age, and before the Sunrise Movement came to Crefeld in the burgeoning young leadership of the activist that Alex has become, he was just this boy playing in the sandbox of the world. In advisory, How Was Your Day became Tell Me Something. Alex talked about politics, government, gardening, invasive insects, sustainability, ecology, history, physics, science fiction, and the mechanics of production. Sometimes he just hung around and played ukulele. Quiet moments at the start constituted his Crefeld years just as much as his moments in the spotlight, and it is difficult to think of anyone who is more of a Crefelder than Alex. Alex is who he is and believes what he believes in or out of the public eye, and that's the whole point about him. From the beginning, he was a beautiful and independent thinker. He has always taken little heed of convention, popular opinion, or authority. In his sophomore year, he stole a snake. As in, there was a snake, and he stole it. For this, he earned a lunch detention, an achievement of which he is quite proud. From North Carolina, he attempted to smuggle home a mountain maple cutting. For a solid year, he applied the full and formidable power of his creativity and intelligence to stealing and replicating the classroom key. Alex has rarely stopped to ask permission, but his recent acts of agency have shifted in scope from his own, growing a garden, chopping down a tree without consulting his grandparents, to remaking the public sphere in a vision of rightness. In parallel, he changed his mind about what it means to be right, reshaping his paradigms to honor diverse perspectives. Alex faces himself and the truth without flinching and without cowardice, even when he is aired. Alex is not his mind or his vision or the charisma that somehow snuck up on him while he was storing together materials he really should not be storing in his basement. Alex is the gentle insight, the clear line to the heart of a matter. He is kindness and brave vulnerability, the signature of strength, the measure of a man. I think that Alex will lead any community of which he is a part. It just might take the institution some time to realize they've been following him. He doesn't care if you think he's right because he knows that he is. He does, however, care if he is good, and he is. Alex, you are impressive. We are very proud of you. Westchester University and the world are both honored to have you in urban and environmental planning and wherever you go from there. And happy birthday, we love you. Congratulations.
Aaron Patrick Flannery.
Hi. Hey. On a typical day during advisory, Aaron can be found on his Switch, immersed in a game of Pokemon, usually with unauthorized visitors from other advisories. In fact, the theme of Pokemon can tell us a lot about Aaron. It says, "I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside." Aaron has searched far and wide across the land before he ever came to Crefeld. He began his journey learning from inspiring teachers and making friends, some of whom are still major influences in his life today. Eventually, he found his training ground here at Crefeld. A Pokemon trainer has to build his team. He needs to catch a variety of creatures with different strengths that complement each other. This team has to be versatile to help the trainer win battles, get to new areas, and discover new Pokemon. Aaron has built his team with all of his family and loyal friends who help him defeat obstacles. Aaron is a very empathetic person with a strong moral compass and a sense of responsibility for his friends. No matter how a battle is started, Aaron is ready to jump in and protect his team. As Aaron continues his journey, he fills in his Pokedex, which stores information about the new Pokemon he meets. Aaron is always searching for new knowledge wherever he goes. He is a strong student, attentive, well-prepared, and conscientious. Aaron is excited to share what he learns about history and science with others. He has filled out many of those Pokedex entries during his spring mini-course adventures. Last year, he learned how to protect the Squirtle at the Sea Turtle Hospital in Florida. And this year, before he began the cooking course, Aaron was a bit apprehensive and closed off, like a metapod. But as he learned a new skill, he evolved into a confident Butterfree. With his team trained and Pokedex filling up, Aaron has come to the real challenge, the Pokemon gyms, places where trainers can test their mettle and show their skill. Aaron gathers his team and prepares for a battle at the Muskoka City Gym by doing thorough, well-organized research about his Supreme Court justice. It's a landslide victory. The next ferocious opponent is pre-calculus. Aaron faces down logarithms, translations, and trigonometry. It's a nail-biting match. The result is Aaron wins, but maybe not as much as he would have liked. As Aaron faces other gyms, he is met with victories and losses, as we all are sometimes. It can be infuriating to accept a loss when he has tried his hardest. But eventually, Aaron always picks himself up, he knows his team is there for him, and the next day, they will be out there training their hardest. Every trainer knows that sometimes it's just about grinding out the work. Now here you are, Aaron, a Pokemon master. You have trained up a great team, filled up plenty of your Pokedex, and collected all 8 badges. Now standing at the gates to Victory Road, you are ready for your next leg of your journey. You will embark upon your gap year with the Dynamy program. We know you will do amazing things, and you will always have that team with you. Congratulations, Aaron.
Natia J. Foster.
Hi.
I love your shoes. Thank you. They're so beautiful. Hi, Pam. You guys can go up on the porch. Oh, thank you. So you can stay dry. Come on in. You sure can. And you're tucking.
Ready? To say that Natia is a love is an understatement. She almost embodies love. She loves her friends. She loves her mom. She loves music and salty noodles and ridiculous foo-foo Starbucks drinks. She loves to help, and she loves a good cause. It almost sounds like a country song, doesn't it? Don't worry, Natia. I am not going to write you a country song. Exactly. I got some inside intel on some of Natia's favorite songs, and while I can't say most of the lyrics to an audience, trust me on this one, I heard Megan Thee Stallion's words. I am not reading them here. I do notice some things that make me understand why she loves them. They're loud, they have good beats, and they speak their truths, and they're a little naughty. And that's Natia too. Her teachers note that she is sometimes the most distracting in the room and sometimes the most focused. She organizes dance parties in the hallway and games and advisory. She checks in on any student who may be having a rough day and tries to bring some sunshine to them. Another advisee called her aggressively kind, and I can't stop loving that. She ran a leadership activity and brought fellow students to sing holiday songs at Seasons, where she also worked so hard during her community service, bringing love and music to the residents. And her truths? Natia, your truths are real. One of your teachers noted, when Natia is on your side, she can't be moved. And that's true. You speak up when something is on your mind. You were active in the BSU, and you spoke your truths there and to others. You found beauty and meaning in places others didn't know existed, like when you learned about the water project and then collected over $200 in change for them. Or another time when you went the extra mile for another advisee by bringing in extra treats to celebrate her birthday and making announcements to remind others of it because you knew it was important to her. Speaking of announcements, Natia often spoke up in morning meeting, giving encouraging and positive words. Music unites people and makes them feel good, and so do you, Natia. Your supervisor at your internship at Child Space said you were amazing with the children there, and she hopes you'll come back. Your involvement in the Crefeld basketball team benefited the players and the team as a whole. When we did a gift exchange, you quietly picked a ridiculous and perfect tiny drum set for your person, showing how much you pay attention and care. You see joy, and you make joy, and you bring joy. It's lyrical. Natia, I did see this lyric in one of your favorite songs, and while it's a little out of context, it made me think of you. Benet says in Super Lonely, "I'm a sad girl in this big world. It's a mad world." I don't think you're a sad girl, Natia, but it is hard to love hard. It's a big world and for sure a mad world. And as you head out into it, remember that we hear your music and it makes us love you even a little bit more. Congratulations, Natia. We love you.
Lucas, Kashad, Outlaw, Tracy, Keatsman.
What? Okay. Huh? Hey, you look great. It's so nice to see you. Look at you all dressed up and you have like a little, oh, nice. All right. All right. Okay. The gentle giant walked across the field and smiled at the sun. As he crossed the shadow into the darkness of the wood, he shivered a bit as the leaves brushed against his hide. The light still poured through the branches enough to show his way, and he walked to his secret forge. Well, not really a secret forge. It was bright with light, and there were like 4 people already there. Some of them were waiting for him. Fee, fi, fo, hello! Waiting to see what he will create next. It will probably be cool. The giant has worked in the forge for millennia, making things small and clever, and making things big and cumbersome. The other workers like him. He jokes as he works and always has a clever quip to share. His quiet voice strangely able to be heard over the din. The giant is rarely loud. He does not need to be. His voice carries. It carries across the room. His laughter carries. It can be heard echoing across the walls of the forge. His presence carries too. It has carried throughout the land. His smile is a beacon that here is a giant, but he will not grind your bones to make his bread. He will always help you if he can, and make your life better as he does it. He seeks out ways to help. He will volunteer to pick up that big rock, help you move that tree, or lift your house so you can clean underneath it. He will be a part of your protest because he believes in it, but more importantly, because he wants to support you. He will join the basketball team for one day because they needed an additional player, and it really helps to have a giant on your side. Earlier this year, he had a project in history class called the Social Movements Project. It was on every being to find something they care about in the world, teach others about it, and then find organizations that supported that movement. The giant did a lot of research on people as they struggled to better themselves in prison and find work when they got out. He found a local group in the village of Philadelphia that took up donations of books for people in prison. So he sent them a message, and he found out more when they responded to him. His project was one of the best, and we kept it to show to people in the future, to show them how good this project can be. But it also shows in its core how good our giant is, how compassionate he is for everyone who struggles in the world. There were some struggles at times for him too. He is less likely to help you with schoolwork. He has to do that himself first, and there may have been some delays. He gets excited to create and to help, less so with academics. Those tiny keys can be troublesome for a giant to hit. Sometimes he will get lost in other things that matter to him, and sometimes those things will be an escape, a haven from the harder things in life. He can get lost in the woods. Among the trees, he can find peace. We all need that. Maybe don't wait so long next time, though. So, as Lucas, the gentle giant, saunters off his next stage in life, we can be happy to have had this time with him. And know that the forge continues to burn bright, that people can still call on him for help, and that the world is big and full of beautiful things, in part because the giant made it so. We will miss you, Lucas, until we meet again.
Ari R. Klugman.
Look, the rain stopped just for you. Ari, I already know what you're probably saying in your head. Oh boy, can't wait to see what Tori's gonna say. Did I do it right? Well, if you really want to know, I've decided that the best way to explain you is to use your own Ariisms to describe your time here at Crefeld. Ariism number 1. Ugh, people. I know, Ari, look around. Maybe you were lucky this year since we don't have as many people at graduation, but alas, you're still surrounded by a lot of people who care about you. And while you say you hate people, it's interesting that you stopped into Josh's glass studio more often in semesters when you didn't have glass class. You also stopped into the sewing studio to tell Lisa saltily about some random thing of the day. And although less often, as you got older, you frequently asked to go to visit Nicole in middle school world during advisory. You even were super helpful to others when they needed it, but then complained about it like you were mad at yourself for not being more of a misanthrope. You try so hard to mask and conceal that you really are a nice person. Despite yourself, you're amiable and have a core group of friends. Heck, you do like people. You love to make people laugh with your quippy, clever observations, and I find myself laughing even when I shouldn't. While it seems that each person you like is an exception to your rule about people, your relationship with animals has always been easier. Whether it was helping Dan in the science lab as a lizard handler, surrounding yourself with your own pets, or completing your service learning at an animal rescue, you knew that pets were less complicated than even the best people. Ariism number 2. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. That phrase often preceded anything that seemed like extra work or took more than an already established amount of time. With that simple phrase, you could make it prophecy or surprise us and do it all. We could never tell which it would be. However, Ari, you more often than not did those things. You just did them in your own way. On your science project, Rachel asked you to measure your plants, but you said you weren't going to do it. However, you did it, copied down the results, and were then surprised and actually excited by what your data showed. You'd also swear you weren't going to do anything during Friday activities, but then were found working on classwork and senior work in various teacher and staff rooms. Today, you can give your usual, "George, can I go home?" as this day comes to a close. But I hope you know you found a home at Crefeld. You may have already known that, evidenced by your PJ pants frequently worn to school. But I hope you really internalize how much this place will always be a home for you to come back to. I hope you can look back at Crefeld with a new Ariism of, "It could have been worse," because really, you did well. As you attend Widener's mechanical engineering program, remember you can always come back and visit. We'll miss your quick comebacks, sarcasm, and even the snarkiness. And despite your Ariisms, we know you'll miss us too. Congratulations.
You're welcome. See, I told you it wasn't going to rain. Samantha Leah Cole Drucker.
Let's take a trip inside Sammy's mind. We'll zoom in together. I'm seeing bright colors, bricks, pipes, mushrooms, coins. Is that a plumber? Oh, it's not Mario, it's Sammy, and she's already quite a few levels in. She has collected coins, learned some strategies, and found the warp pipe that led her to the secret area called the Crefeld School. Sammy runs with all her might, jumping and stomping. Uh-oh, there's a tall brick wall in her way. It's tempting to try to avoid this challenge altogether, but Sammy has learned on previous levels that obstacles don't just go away. You have to face them sooner or later. She thinks hard, gives it her biggest leap, and is off and running again. Ooh, a mushroom. Sammy knows that this power-up will make her grow extra large and powerful. She's felt that way before. She brought a huge imagination and tons of creativity to theatrical productions. As Sammy progressed through art classes at Crefeld, she stepped out of her comfort zone to produce increasingly bigger art. Her imagination literally could not be contained on a small canvas. She doodles on her papers and on the whiteboards, hilarious and weird characters showing up everywhere. Super Sammy can't be stopped. She stomps on a few Goombas for good measure. There's another power-up. In the game, it looks like a bright yellow star, but to those of us on the outside, it looks like her trusted blanket. This power-up grants Sammy invincibility. She wraps herself up when she's tired or upset, and nothing can get through her armor. But sometimes what's inside of her can't be contained, and a fireball of yelps and non sequiturs explodes into the clouds. Sammy isn't playing this game on her own. After all, where would Mario be without Luigi or Yoshi by his side? Sammy loves her friends. She is loyal, caring, and supportive. She encourages them with compassion and thoughtfully speaks up for them when she feels something isn't right. Sammy always has time for secret languages and games with those in her inner circle. It's her friends, not the coins, that give her extra lives. She's almost to the end of this area. Sammy runs towards the castle she sees ahead of her, only to realize that it's Bowser's fearsome castle of senior work. Oh no! He throws everything he can think of at Sammy, but she finds a way to defeat each challenge. Math tests? Passed. Literary analysis? Written with style. And oh, that personal learning reflection. Sammy illustrated her PLR with images that were captivating, witty, and moving. It was honest, hilarious, and incredibly sad all at once. Too powerful for words. Bowser has to admit defeat, moving aside to let Sammy run past him. She bursts through the castle walls and back into the real world, and here she is, standing before us. The prize that Sammy has won isn't rescuing Princess Peach. It's figuring out who she is, how to overcome her challenges, and what makes her happy. Next, Sammy will take on a gap year in which she plans to take online art courses and explore educational and career opportunities. Congratulations, Sammy, and we will miss you. You really are super.
Daniel Joseph Muskoka.
Ready? Here we go. Daniel gets lost a lot. There is so much to lose yourself to in the world. The art, the news, the music, the ideas. The pain of the everyday and sometimes the joy of it is easy to get lost in. To find yourself in depths you cannot fathom and realize you are too far from the surface and light. For Daniel, this is easier than most because he loves so many things. Art seems easiest to lose himself in. He has spent hours in the art room, poring over a canvas or a sketch pad. He will completely lose track of time and miss parts of classes. I've had to fetch him there often. He rarely knows when he is done. There is always more that could be added, another level, another part of the story to tell. His art is amazing. You could look at any part of something he has created and find yourself lost in it. When he created his amazing piece that became his creative expression, he just kept changing and adding to it, finding another flash of color, realizing that maybe he was looking at it the wrong way. So he literally turned it upside down and started adding more flourishes. Everything can be improved with another brushstroke. Music is always a haven. Again, he could do it forever, and yes, I've had to pull him out of the music studio as well. He gets so lost in the chords of the music he loves, metal, but other genres too. Music seems to lift him up more than some of his other interests. He can find more peace there. And again, his strengths shine. He can play his sadness, his joy, his rage. He also seems to be able to find his way out easier. He honestly needs to play more often. Find that healthy space that music provides and embrace it like a light in the darkness. He wants to know what is happening in the world. There are stories, there is sadness, and there is so much more he could understand. He shows a level of sensitivity and compassion for everything and everyone. He can get lost in that too. There is so much to learn, and he is curious about it all. He wants to sit and absorb, and in the right place, ask some questions. He looks at every concept from 100 different angles. He looks to see where it bends and if it breaks. In politics, in science, in history, in literature, his mind never stops working. If one idea can be seen from so many different sides, then he can find a way to lose himself in it. To look at all those facets and let that lead him to another, a fractal of notions and theories and thoughts. Sometimes he will find himself with an epiphany of understanding or a link to see how things fit together. Most of the time, the thoughts pile up. For most of us, there are more questions than answers in the world. It is the way of things. For Daniel, those questions are never put behind, and they can bury you. Easy to lose yourself there, but doesn't losing your path often find a way to new discoveries about the world, about yourself? Daniel finds himself every minute of every day. Sometimes he is happy with what he finds and sometimes not. Sometimes he remembers the past and gets lost in those memories and feelings. He is always lost and always found again. Every revelation is another mystery. Most times, I wish we could all be that way, unearthing the known to find the new. As Daniel looks to find the best future, he will get lost again and again. He will still find his way back home. I hope he finds us again too. We will keep the light on.
Jacob, please.
Stand right there. Yes, and come up on the... Ready? What if I told you there was once a man who embraced sports in a way few ever will, was devoted to his religion, slept way too little except in the wrong places, and was clever and funny, but chose rarely to show it? Would you believe it? This is the story of one of our greatest students, Jake Lees, on this week's 30 for 30. Jake began his career in Jewish schools, which struggled to handle his creativity and somewhat difficult interactions with authority figures. "He tripped me," said his grade school teacher. "He was such a handful." Jake admitted he did not take a lot away from those years, but he did find out a lot about himself and his interactions with the school system, a somewhat adversarial relationship at points. Regardless, he remained devoted to his religion, going to synagogue often and later helping out each week as part of his service learning. The rabbi spoke of Jake in glowing terms, emphasizing his strong character and help around the building. In general, he has done a lot of different things, and he's willing to help with anything he is asked to do. More importantly, he was a great mentor to younger students. The younger children will look up to him. This is something seen throughout his career. He was very involved in the B'nai Akiva youth group, helping and supporting those youngsters who saw him as a teacher and role model, and he continued that work at the Crefeld School. He was a trainer to our middle school, as he worked with them during lunches daily to improve their skills, and also harness his own deep love of basketball in all sports. He would drill and teach them the basics of shooting and moving with the ball. While not an official position, he worked as an assistant coach for the basketball team, helping with warm-ups and preparation for every game. However, while sports was his love, it was also his greatest struggle. There are too many sports to watch and not enough hours in a day. Sleep came in snippets, often in classes as he would stay up late into the night, glued to his television, often with his family. Sports were the perfect respite. He loved the competition, not knowing what would happen, and it had an enormous impact on his mood. If the Sixers won, he would be more awake and ready for the day. If they lost, he would be down and sleepier. If the Eagles won, he would be elated. If they lost, he might as well not come into school. If the Eagles lost to Dallas, then he should just stay home all week because, well, Dallas sucks. And he learned all he could about sports. He knows the players, he knows the rules, he knows the strategies. Every project and exhibition he did, we tried to find a sports connection. His research paper was about the issues around small and big market teams in the NBA. His persuasive essay was on the pay gap between U.S. women's and men's soccer. One of his oral exam topics was about the home run race and steroids in baseball. His literary analysis was about a sports story. Heck, if we had made math focused around sports, he probably would have been all over it. His greatest exhibition was his Creative in Tech, where he created a website projecting the 2020 basketball season focused on the strengths and weaknesses of each team with periodic updates throughout the season. While he was unable to predict the corona pandemic pausing the NBA for many months, he did correctly predict the LA teams would wind up at the top of their conference. His fervent fandom has been his guiding light. And again, it has also been a thorn in his side, trying to watch sports in his classes under the tables at times. Rebecca, who runs the front office, would often get to spend quality time with Jake after he was sent there for refusing to keep his head up. Jake is willing to listen and loves to joke with people. He even joked he would do something really inappropriate today. We talked about it, and I truly hope he won't. Because today is a celebration of Jake and his accomplishments. He has overcome adversity and stands here today before going on to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Jake is a good man. While we talk about his prowess in this documentary, we honor the person. Until we get to tell your next story, Jake, we wish you all the best.
Joshua Reed Liesner.
Is this thing on? Good morning, everyone. Is it still morning? Oh, yeah, it is. Good. Okay, cool. Hi, Josh. I invite everyone to join me on a small journey to the world-famous Crefeld Circus. May I please direct your attention to the center ring? That's right. Please give your attention to our ringmaster, the greatest showman, Josh Liesner. Josh is charming, thoughtful, and welcoming. He has a wonderful way of inviting people into his space and is always polite and charming. Like many ringmasters, he's also the fan of a terrible joke and will be sure to keep the audience, often our very own advisory, entertained. Continuing with our show, please follow the spotlight to our stage. Here you will find Josh playing several other roles. First, we will have a musical number played expertly by our star. We might have a spirited discussion about the merits of these different kinds of music, but that will just add to the fun. Next, turn your eyes to the screen. That's right, friends. We shall now see our hero display his prowess at that most dangerous of skills, the video game. Watch how he conquers all. Do you think this is the end of Josh's talents? How dare you? Turn your eyes to the sky. Watch as Josh walks the tightrope of schoolwork. Will he keep it all balanced? Will he reach the other side? Yes, yes, he does, and he will. Our host now moves back to the center ring. What surprise does he have in store for us now? You are in for a treat, my friends. It's one of my favorite Josh talents, juggling. He is a supportive, caring friend to a wide variety of people. He is loyal, protective, and sincere. Dare I make a lion tamer reference here? Josh has a way of soothing over flare-ups among his friends in a way that is inclusive and never belittles anyone or their feelings. Josh has a clown car of friends. It seems small at first, and then literally more and more people who care and love Josh come pouring out into the limelight. And I believe you don't have good friends unless you are a good friend, so this speaks volumes about Josh. Now, a circus doesn't always have a magician, but I would truly be remiss if I did not briefly mention Josh's fantastic trick of making himself disappear every once in a while. It was simply amazing and added a bit of mystery to all of our days. But let's follow the spotlight back to right now. Josh, you are kind and thoughtful. Everyone who meets you comments on your politeness and care, and you've proven yourself to be an active and integral part of the Crefeld community. The world is waiting, Josh. Don't limit yourself. Take all of this talent out into the universe. To quote Roald Dahl, A little magic can take you a long, long way. And if that's the case, Josh, there's no limit to how far you can go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish we could. I wish we could.
I like being able to walk out here. Kayla McFalls.
In one of our final advisories, we each shared facts about things we love. Kayla told us that she has created over 600 unique characters. Each character can feature in its own story, art piece, or game. She used her expertise for her leadership project, in which she led a group of students through the process of creating their own characters. It made me think about how Kayla has also been the creator and editor of her own personal character. One of the first steps in creating a character is to research and look at models. In other words, you have to learn. Kayla has always been an absolutely outstanding student, no matter the subject. She was the first senior to finish all of her graduation exhibitions this year. At the same time, Kayla has tried a variety of creative outlets like sewing, dance, physical theater, and the zine club. She has built a wide base of skills and knowledge to use as she develops her own character. The next step is to draw the characters. Kayla is an amazing artist who often spends her spare time drawing. Her combined creative expression and technology project was a digital animation featuring one of her most beloved characters, Arthur. She showed how effective art can be in making a character come to life. At the same time, Kayla's art helps her to understand and express herself as she constructs her own persona. After researching and drawing, Kayla had her activity participants write stories in which their characters could shine. Kayla has already written more than most of us will in our whole lives. She has participated in National Novel Writing Month for each of the last 5 Novembers, completing an entire novel averaging 50,000 words every time. But Kayla doesn't just write a lot, she writes really well. In this year's Playwriting Spring Mini Course, Kayla wrote a wrenching monologue that was powerfully performed by a professional actor. As we read and hear her writing, we get glimpses of who Kayla is crafting herself to be. The final step of creating a character is to share your work with others. For the leadership project, Kayla's group showed their drawings and stories. She was supportive, thoughtful, and encouraging. Kayla has done plenty in the Crefeld community to share her character with us. Her sense of right and wrong has always been evident. She is sensitive to the feelings of others and seeks to be understood herself. Throughout this whole process, one consideration is vital. It's okay to edit and change along the way. Sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes you learn new information that needs to be added in. And sometimes the character you were working on just no longer fits. Kayla did an intense revision of her understanding of herself this year. This was no whim. She researched externally, analyzed internally, and decided that she disagreed with how others were trying to portray her. The process was difficult, and she often felt misunderstood or alone, but she was steadfast in defining her character the way she felt made sense. The editing process can be difficult in writing, and it's even harder in real life, but it's worth it to end up with a character that feels right. A character can't be developed overnight, and it has been rewarding to see Kayla build and refine herself during her 5 years at Crefeld. Kayla will take a gap year and then enroll at Ursinus College. Congratulations, Kayla. We can't wait to see how you will continue writing your own story.
Lily Ann Miles.
How to grow a lily. There are lots of varieties of the lily. You can see them all out there in our driveway. However, I'm going to tell you how to grow the Lilium kallagikai variety. This is the most rare and precious kind of lily, with multifaceted flower petals that look like a complex collage of wonder and beauty. She is a tenacious plant that spreads and is so fascinating you don't even notice she's taking over. You can't control her growth. Leave that to her and you will be amazed. Where should we plant the lily? Lily came to Crefeld in 9th grade. She transplanted well into her new community. She quickly made it her home and spread her roots throughout the whole school. Like all lilies, she propagated. But unlike all lilies, she did this by making a close-knit group of friends, giving out her teeny plastic babies each day to her science teacher, and falling easily into conversations. Lily is a great person to spend time with. What kind of care does the lily need every day? Lily loves water, and she loves all things that grow in water. One of her favorite subjects is to tell you about how her fish and her fish tanks grow, and then tell you about the other things she grows in her fish tanks, like snails and algae. And then she tells you how she takes care of all of them. But listening to her talk about water is not all the care she needs each day. Lily grows best in the center of a vortex with creativity swirling all around her. In Crefeld's garden, this would be the art room. Lily spent every lunchtime and every Friday activity period and her elective classes in the art room. And in fact, we all remember that day that Lily wanted to work on a paper for her senior work in the art room. It was a bit of a standoff, and it didn't make sense. But that wasn't the point. It was what she needed. She went into the center of the vortex, and she actually got some work done. Being in the art room fed her and sustained her in so many ways. And this showed in her art. She makes wonderfully weird artwork. Whether it's her ugly babies piece that she created in her sewing class, of which she is very proud, or her 3-paneled collage that was bigger than she is. Through her art, we all learn not to doubt her artistic vision. She works in complicated, massive detail. She doesn't make simple art, she just can't. She is comfortable in the complex, whether it's internal or external. And what does the flower of this lily look like? Well, every gardener likes to go out into their garden and try and control how a flower grows. But you can't do that with this lily. When she wants to grow, she grows. And you just need to be happy with what you get. There are, however, general patterns, and you'll know she's growing well when you see these different elements of her foliage unfold. Our healthy Lilium Kologicae were the same thing each day. A maroon sweatshirt with a banana slug on it, a souvenir from our spring mini course to the California Redwoods that we went on together, and a bun on the top of her head. Tucked into her plant leaves, she had stickers and many colored pens to share. You can't define Lily in just a few words, because that would leave out the many other dimensions that make up her complex foliage. Here's what we found, though, once our Lily had grown. A beautiful flower that no one but her could have designed. And if you follow these simple instructions, not only will you too get this amazing lily, but you will get miles and miles of her. Congratulations, Lily, you made it.
Clarissa G. Powell Folks.
Yep. Right over where the chairs are.
You're going to get out of the chair.
Recently, during Crefeld at Home, I learned that Clarissa had lost her voice. She was scheduled to give her public presentation a few days later, which, interestingly enough, about finding her singing voice. When we met to prepare, her voice was whispery, hoarse, and tired. However, even without a physical voice, Clarissa was still confident, assured, and ready to take on what's next. She knew that the power of her voice wasn't in the volume, but in the message. This thinking about Clarissa's voice, the way she has found it, and the way she uses it. The most obvious Clarissa has learned to find is in her singing. Clarissa grew up believing that she wasn't a good singer. It took her a long time to recognize that she had a beautiful voice and to feel brave enough to share that with our community. Courtney would often tell me she had perfect pitch. Over the years, I saw Clarissa go from singing timidly, yet always on key, to being confident and enjoying herself, able to match the power of her voice to the feeling of the songs. And when she finished a song, we were blessed with her big, generous smile. See? Her involvement in Glee reinforced her belief in herself, and she became a student leader in the group, showing kindness to her peers. Clarissa also found her voice through her faith. In fact, she attended a church leadership conference every year she's been at Crefeld. This conference gave her the skills to mediate between her friends. She brings a perspective that can inspire people. While she sometimes was in the conflicts themselves, she grew to be a voice of reason among her friends and someone they listened to when they were struggling. Clarissa effectively uses her voice in asking for what she needs. At Crefeld, whether it was an email late at night or an update on grades, Clarissa advocated for herself. Laura became her go-to academic ally, and Clarissa knew that Laura would help her ask for support to get things done. However, she also checked in with other staff and teachers just because she liked them and the important human connections that she made. One of the most powerful ways that Clarissa uses her voice is with social justice. When she was younger, she focused on easier things like giving money to the homeless and stopping littering, but she grew more intentional and nuanced in her quest, standing up when someone said something harmful or hurtful. She does this in a way that isn't attacking, but explains why something is harmful and seeks to repair. In addition, she's found her place as a founding member of the Black Student Union at Crefeld. Ultimately, for Clarissa, it's not all about her voice. Underneath it is her persistence, determination, hard work, and resilience. When things are hard, Clarissa doesn't run. She gathers a supportive coalition and faces it head on. While Clarissa hasn't decided on where to go to school yet, she is in demand and holds many offers. Whatever school you choose, Clarissa, they will be getting a unique and powerful voice. Continue singing, continue advocating for yourself and others, and bring your joy and kindness to the world. We will miss the sound of your voice, but it will continue to reverberate here at Crefeld. We can't wait to hear where your voice takes you next. Congratulations.
Donnell Randall.
Hey, Donna. How you guys doing? Yeah. You make do. All right. I'm going to try and do this well, but I'm not a rapper like Donnell. So I'll do my best to rhyme at the end of every line, to talk about a super guy before we have to say goodbye. Question: who is Donnell? He is definitely a big picture man, kind and ready to lend a helping hand, quietly thinking to himself so deeply and showing it with his actions sweetly. He has come so far from where he started, always feeling so worried and guarded, struggling with how he could fit in, uncomfortable with the places he'd been. Crefeld is where he found his home, with people who care and halls to roam. A fun-loving guy who wanted to swim. In Florida, he dove right in. And while he said that we could leave, we thought it best to oversee, since he was just learning to swim around, and we surely didn't want him to drown. Showing off his adventurous soul, but ultimately he was sensible. A man who sings and raps for expression, and believe me, he left quite an impression. Performing in that first art show, with the Glee Club, he got into his flow. He left the audience amazed, he was no longer afraid. We're glad he showed that side at Crefeld, where his feelings were not withheld. A man with a tendency to wander, finding friendly faces over yonder, searching for some kind of meaning for all of us as human beings. Finding himself in middle school land, sharing his wisdom in ways they understand, helping them practice their basketball skills, but not always by doing drills. Speaking up about his experiences in advisory, and showing how he handles those struggles in society. Showing the people around him he cares, he wants for everyone what is good and fair. He has a fiery passion for social justice, and he will make a difference, trust us. I know I said you're a big picture man, but don't forget, as we all can, to take a look around and see all the pieces that make it, like you and me. So as you are continuing forward, we wish you all the best and more. Word. Sorry, lost it on that last one. Congratulations, Donnell.
David Edward Silverman.
Oh, be careful. You stand in the square. I am very honored to be reading this speech written by Lisa Shaffrin for David. David, every consciousness is discrete, a unit, an entity, landscaped in whimsies, wishes, demons of its own design. Enveloped as we are by our private words, it's our languages that link us. Like the narrative arc of Allegoria, David comes to us through 1,000 tiny miracles. His character, the linguist, revealing each successive wonder in a new tongue. Improvisational comedy, strikingly styled game design, analog and digital. Musicianship as a drummer, singer, and ukulele player. Photography, world building, drawing, playwriting, dramatic voices, nuanced, clever humor, and literal linguistics, from the Crefeld class to his conling, to his long-standing study of French, Spanish, and now Japanese. David's Cirque-style dreamscape is soundtracked and fantastical, in bold communion with the strange, smart, sophisticated, and the lovely. His tastes, too, are eclectic and cultured. These are the inspirations of a rare and bright intellect and a gleeful young heart. In his very singularity, David is a pioneer. His timelines are saturated by song. He sings to himself, on key, in and out of context, and on his own cue. And why do we not all sing out loud? He speaks up, unabashed about his experiences. And why should we not all say our truths? He is so often smiling, evoking joy. It is difficult to be around him and not feel happier than you did before. And why should we all not frolic more? David offers not only celebration, but compassion. From seasons to senior care, there is a place for everyone in David's world. The never-emptying cupboard project, years of weekly work outside of school with his family at Philabundance, and an independent service learning placement at the Philadelphia Free Library, where he was characteristically hardworking, are all testaments to his commitment to community. And let us not lose sight of this trajectory, from the small boy curled up in Leo's car seat to the young man corralling a cluster of student improv actors for his leadership exhibition. Although academically accomplished, David has achieved far more in his 6 years at Crefeld. We are all translators, extracting intentions, sorting through implications for our wishes and our wants. Language is our lifeline, our way to say really the thing we mean with almost everything we say to each other. By how was your day and what would you like, what we mean is we are not alone, we stand here together, I can see you. David, you are not alone. We are here together and we can see you. You inspire optimism that your generation will exist on more planes than its predecessors, defined by more disparate dimensions, that it will speak of more of its mind, that it will yield a culture and civilization worthy of every human heart. You are a trailblazer in your own right. We cannot wait to see what you dream up as a game design major at Champlain College. We envy them the privilege of witnessing your next year of splendor. We love you, David.
Erica J. Solis.
Oh, I love the dress. Look at you. It's beautiful. Hey, hi. Give you a hug, Berto. All right. You ready? All right. Good evening, and this is Erica back with your station 8836 FM WCRE. Just give us a call at 1-800 Crefeld, and we can talk the night away about whatever you want. Here we go. The lines are open, and I'm waiting to talk to you. Our first caller is Jean from Georgia. How are you doing tonight, Jean? I'm doing great, Erica. First-time caller, long-time listener. I had a question about making a dress out of curtains. What is the best material? Great question, Jane. So I like a nice velvet, but honestly, anything will work. You don't want to be too thick, or it will be super uncomfortable for you when you a night out. I have seen quite a few pieces of whole fabrics, and you want to be careful with that because you put what I put against your skin. I have made some cool bell bottoms, a prom dress, a corset top, a lot of little things along the way. So with my experience, I will say that the most important thing is to find what makes you happy and just go with it. I do my best to live by them every day, and most days it works out pretty well. Looks like we have Willie from Washington up now. What can I do for you, Willie? Hey, Erica. Loved the show. Could you tell me about linguistics? Happy to, Willie. Linguistics is the study of language itself, and I get a kick of figuring out how people speak and how words come into me. I just want to know more about everything there. You know, I know that there's so much we can learn about people and civilization and everything from studying the ways that words and sounds develop over time and why they do too. Every change in the language is caused by something or someone, and we can see the evidence of nearly every language in English, which has such a hodgepodge of sounds and concepts. It's so cool, and I love the question, Willie. Thanks for asking that. Our next caller is Cora from Kansas. What's up, Cora? Oops. What's up, Cora? Well, Erica, it's nice to talk to you, but I haven't been really down lately. I've been struggling to get out of bed, and there does not seem to be any reason. Can you help me? Cora, I've been there. Life can be rough sometimes. Every day can be a struggle. I had some health problems which have laid me up for a while too, but there is so much worth seeing in the world. It's full of cool stuff and neat things to learn. I love learning about new things, and you could give that a try. Some things you can learn just from your bed, but others you have to go out and see for yourself. Is it worth getting out of your can? There is so much out there that's fun and exciting. I like to set myself goals every day and see what I can reach. That really helped me to get going. Setting goals is a cool thing to do, and you can get better at it the more you do it. So doing is the most important thing. It's honestly how you get better at more things, doing them. It's a better way to be. Think about it, Cora. Think about it. On that note, I want to address that this is my last night here on the airwaves at all 8836 WCRE. And I want to say that I have really enjoyed being here and taking your calls, answering your questions, and just being a friendly voice that anyone can talk to. I know that I have made many friends here, and while I'm off to Stony Brook University next year to study linguistics, I will never forget all that you have taught me. It has been my pleasure to be part of this station, so let me take one last call. This is from the Crefeld School in Chestnut Hill. Hello, Crefeld. And what can I do for you? Erica, we just want to say that we love you and that you have already done so much for us. You're extremely loved and appreciated by everyone here. We love your passion to learn, your support of your causes, and the way you uphold people and make them better. You are wonderful, and we wish you a wonderful future. Come back anytime. Thank you, Crefeld. This is Erica signing off. Best to all, and good night.
Rosa L. Wright.
Oh, there she is. The prom dress. Oh, you're wearing the prom dress. Oh my gosh. So cute. That's so great that Erica was here. Yeah. Hi. Rosita. All right. All right. Day 3. Crefeld kindergarten today was very special. We made decorations with pasta and colored them in with paints. It was a bit messy, but everyone had a wonderful time. The happiest kid in class was Rosa. She was smiling and laughing and seemed entirely thrilled by the project. Sorry about the clothes, but it should all come out in the wash. Sometimes Rosa seems so grown up, but when you put some noodles and finger paints in front of her, you can see what she really is. Just a kid who loves to play. Day 12. Today, Rosa seemed a bit down. She didn't want to participate and just wanted to argue with everyone. Unfortunately, she's better at arguing than anyone else is at convincing her to do something. She doesn't just say, I'm not going to do it. She tries so many different ways, including, I will do it later. It will not be hard. I just need to rest. Or my favorite, we have different priorities. The problem is, all of this could be true, and that makes her argument so effective. Well, we will try again tomorrow. Day 44. Today I read a book called Green Eggs and Ham to the class. Rosa got completely lost in the story. Why were they mistreating the goats? Is that train running on coal? And for goodness sake, where are the women represented in this story? While she was okay with the larger message of trying new things, she could not accept that so many were harmed, just for this one stubborn dude to try some moldy eggs. I never saw the story that way. Rosa really opened my eyes. Day 79. Rosa told a joke today. She said, knock, knock. I say, who's there? Says who? Says me. And then she just started laughing, so the half of the class. The other half just did not get it and just looked at her oddly. But Rosa kept on laughing. Tears poured from her eyes. It was wonderful. Day 106. Today Rosa was sad. She came in and put on her fairy wings, but they did not lift her up. She sat in a corner, and I tried to get her to join us, but she couldn't. Some days she just can't get out of her head. So I sat with her and read her a story called Giraffes Can't Dance. Excuse me, coughed a cricket. Who's seen Gerald early on? But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. She smiled at me when I read that, but she still was sad. I loved that little girl. Day 127. Rosa may be one of the smartest students I have ever taught. She can reason as well as someone with decades of experience, and she knows so much. Today we had a social studies lesson on American history, and she talked about the indigenous people of the Americas and how their story was at least as important as the colonists. She took over the entire class with that discussion as she began telling a different story. It was a great moment and one I will always treasure. She has so much to give. Day 180. This is the last day, and Rosa had ups and downs, but it was a wonderful year. She struggled when we were at home for so long and had a hard time getting herself motivated for class, but she's very ready for first grade. In fact, she may be moving a lot faster than I anticipated. I think she will do just fine, and she has promised to visit me. I look forward to seeing her again. We all do. Congratulations.
Livia Mailman Zaslow.
Ready? For Livia, life has sometimes felt like a wilderness. It can be dark, scary, and forbidding, and it can be hard to tell where she's going. Sometimes she gets disoriented and goes in circles instead of moving forward, or can't find the motivation to go anywhere at all. The worst part of being in the wilderness is feeling alone. It can be discouraging for Livia, but she is well prepared for the journey. Livia knows her backpack is full of tools to help her on her trek. When she is feeling lost, she can pull out her compass and her faith will point her in the right direction. She can consult her guidebook for advice from people like her family and trusted adults at school who have found their way through the wilderness before. Sometimes she doesn't even need a guide to tell her where to go, just a listening ear or a reminder of how talented and capable she really is. Livia can pull out a bottle of water from her backpack. It's important to be well hydrated so you can sing while you walk. Livia sings all the time, sometimes not even realizing that she's doing it. In the past few years, she worked hard to improve her voice, piano, and even guitar skills. Her performances in the school art shows were always impressive, but the one that blew everyone away was when she beatboxed for an entire song. She is incredibly talented, and it's clear that the journey is easier when music is keeping her company. Another tool that's absolutely vital for Livia, though not one you might expect in the wilderness, is her phone. It's useful for so many things, and even has a flashlight. But even when her path is difficult, Livia doesn't just shine it on the rocks under her feet. She looks for flowers and wildlife and all the other beauty in the wilderness. She's silly, cheerful, thoughtful, and can always find the good things in life. Her sense of fun is completely infectious. Our advisory sneeze competition was already weird and wonderful, but it got even better when Livia became a self-appointed sneeze criminal, going all out to take videos of herself sneezing, get other people to vouch for her alleged sneezes, and find every possible loophole in the rules of sneezing. There's one more thing you need to make it through the wilderness: a good pair of hiking boots. Though school has sometimes felt like just too much to handle, Livia has always kept her boots laced, kept on walking, and excelled in her classes. Whether it's a research paper, a difficult math class, or a journey through life, sometimes the most important thing is just to keep going. And Livia does, even when she feels like giving up. So here's the thing, Livia. Life is like a wilderness. It's scary and big and full of unexpected challenges, but you have the tools you need and you aren't navigating it on your own. All of us who love you are out there with you, finding our way together. We'll be cheering you on as you do a gap year in Israel and then enroll at Temple University. We love you and believe in you and know that you will get to where you want to go. Congratulations, Livia.
Wow. So to the parents of the class of 2020, my message to you is thank you. Thank you for sharing your children with us. To the class of 2020, we love you. You are forever woven into the fabric of the Crefeld School, and you are Crefelders for life. So if everybody could join me in congratulating 2020 Crefeld, let me do this over. This isn't being live streamed or anything, is it, right? No one heard that. please join me in congratulating the class of 2020. Let me get my notes. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you very much for being here today.